Shot the yellow.
Entrepreneurship, it's all game. The Big Potato Podcast.
And we are back. Yes, guys, that's right. We're back again. This is the Big Potato Podcast. And I am Kendell, and of course my co-host Stuart is here with me as usual. And we are so excited and happy to have you guys with us as usual. Thank you guys for following, supporting, sharing all the valuable insights and information with entrepreneurs, young and old. Can't just say young alone, young at heart as well, right? So thank you guys so much for being with us on this journey. This is our journey to help you and to help ourselves as we all try to navigate today's business world. Today is a very special episode. I must say it's very special. Episode number 4 in season 3 of the Big Potato Podcast, and we keep rolling. We have a big guest with us tonight. When you guys hear this guest, you're going to say, what boy? They get this man up that early in the morning? But I'm going to tell you who it is just now. Stuart, all things, bro, it's August. It's all happening in Trinidad and Tobago, bro, and your birthday coming up soon too.
Yes, it's August, the best month of the year.
August, fan month too.
Start with emancipation, celebrate steel pan in the center, and finish off with independence.
Yep.
The history of our island, our beautiful island, in a nutshell.
In a
And then my
nutshell.
birthday somewhere in the next day too. So it's all vibes. And then, well, as I said that, I mean, there's a gap between the time we recorded and when this is actually put out, but Happy World Steel Pan Day.
Yep. Happy
We
World
celebrated,
Steel
we
Pan.
waving that flag hard
Yep.
today. Happy World Steel Pan Day.
And I saw your All-Stars performing in Times Square,
Yes.
actually. So
yes.
big up to the Trinidad and Tobago All-Stars.
I think we're going to have to rally for World Steel Pan Day becoming a national holiday.
I don't see why not.
Because
I don't see why
because
not.
the world can be celebrating what we create, and we in our office sitting down,
I
and they have
can't
so
see
much
why
steel bands performing all around the country. What are you going to fit that in between 6 to 8? Come now, man.
Yeah.
Come now, man.
yeah.
Better than that,
So-
Trinidad.
All the powers that be, I know you're tuned into the Big Potato Podcast. Let's make it happen next year. World Steel Pan Day, a holiday in Trinidad and Tobago. Just remember you heard it here first. Well, at least it's a suggestion. So, you guys, our guest tonight, let's get into it one time. Yeah. Drum roll for sure. He's a digital strategist, a media personality, and a digital nomad. Yeah, that's right. Helping Caribbean entrepreneurs and businesses build their digital presence, monetize their platforms, and of course, tap into global opportunities. And you know, we love opportunities on this podcast. Born in Trinidad, he was raised in Canada, now based in Thailand.
Wow.
That's right. He's a true practitioner who teaches by doing. He hosts the Digipreneur FM podcast, big podcast, one of my favorites as well, and the Digital World on Freedom 106 FM. And of course, he shares his insights, weekly in the Trinidad and Tobago Newsday, as well as the Jamaica Observer. So across the Caribbean, across the globe, he's known. As a lecturer and speaker, his mission is to guide the Caribbean into a global digital economy. And he invites you to follow along if you dare to be great. None other than our very special guest, Mr. Keron Rose.
Welcome.
Thank you for the opportunity to jump on here on the Big Potato Podcast and discuss all things entrepreneurship in the digital space. Always a pleasure, and finally a good chance to connect with the two of you. So thank you again for the invite.
Yeah. Thank you
Most
for being
welcome.
here and making the time. And I
Making
guess
the
you're
time.
having your morning coffee right now.
Absolutely, you know? Why not?
So as we said, Keron is actually in Thailand right now. He moved to Thailand, I believe it was late last year, if I'm not mistaken. And he's
September
there now.
last
September.
year.
And how's it been?
September last year. Well, the fact that it is August and we are going on 1 year of being in Thailand, it still feels like I've only been here for 3-4 months.
Wow.
I don't know where the time is going, but I mean, it's been eye-opening. It's been awakening. It's been transformational. It has been, being on this side of the world. You hear so much through third-party experiences or third-party platforms, and depending on the platform, the information will be colored a different kind of way.
Yep.
So when you finally get out here and you actually get to see these things for yourself and witness them for yourself and touch it, interact with it, engage, talk to people who are building the technologies and understanding their philosophies or why they solve the problems in the way that they do. Listen, it has been the best decision I've made in my life. The second best. The first best was moving to Trinidad. That was the best decision I ever made, right? Best 10 years of my life. Regardless of what happened in Trinidad, it was the best 10 years of my life. But now coming out to Thailand, given the timeliness of Thailand and what's happening in the world, oh my goodness, it's been the second best decision I've made.
Yep. And I mean, you are the epitome of what a digital nomad is, and we're going to talk about that a little later on in this episode as well. But let's get into the episode actually with our first segment. It's called What Caught My Eye. Stuart, you want to go first this week?
Sure.
And lead off?
Well, what caught my eye was an article in the Jamaica Gleaner by Stephen Jackson on the 8th of August this year. And the article was about the Caribbean central banks testing a payment system to reduce the reliance on the US banking system. It's called the CAPS, the CARICOM Payment and Settlement System. So it's going to be it's a pilot project. Barbados, the Central Bank of Barbados, the Central Bank of Bahamas, the ACCB, and then another fourth unnamed entity. I don't know why they want to remain unnamed for the moment, but it's very interesting. This is a very big development as far as I am concerned. And it really raises a couple questions. Is this a broader pivot towards BRICS? Because if you're moving away, at least to do the local transactions, this is something that is also going to be heavily tied to Africa. So is it part of the BRICS movement? Is it crafting stronger ties with the global south? How is it going to affect and create opportunities, your favorite word, for the local fintech sector? How will this affect the value of our currencies? Will it? How will it? And then lastly, how will the US perceive and respond to it? Because, right now, they're a bit emotional about things, I won't go too much into it. But, it's interesting. I see a lot of potential with us trading in our own currency and not having the constraints. They may have good reasons for the constraints, with the terrorism bills and the FACTA and all of these things, but us in the Caribbean, amongst ourselves, we don't want to get into all of that. Yeah. We could trade amongst ourselves. We are a bloc.
Caribbean currency. CC.
So when I saw it, my eyes just opened up immediately. And I really wanted to get some thoughts from Mr. Rose.
Yeah, man.
So I had written an article about what Southeast Asia has done, right? They did this about 4 years ago. Exactly that. They trade amongst themselves. So they built out, I forget the name of it off the top of my head, but they built out a protocol that allows them to bypass any foreign entities' currencies and allows them to trade amongst themselves in their own currencies. And again, my first thought process was, if ASEAN is doing that, the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, if they're doing that, and they did that years ago, where is CARICOM, right?
Exactly.
Now, what is interesting about that is, well, we've heard government prime ministers say TNT currency is monopoly money. That fourth country that is remaining to be remaining
unnamed,
anonymous.
I do not foresee that being Trinidad. And I don't foresee it being Trinidad because none of these countries accept TT currency. None of them want to accept TT currency because none of them can convert TT currency to anything. So if they cannot convert TT currency, then why would any of the other islands want us involved in that initiative to inject TT currency that nobody can use? So we are going to be, I don't know, we have some real tough decisions. And the only way forward that I see is that yes, we absolutely need this kind of protocol. Like, we have to be able to trade amongst ourselves. But for TNT specifically, with our situation with the currency, I don't know what that looks like. But I do know that more people, more citizens need to take personal responsibility to upskill, to start generating their own US currency, because we can do that. If I was not doing that since 2018, being able to attract outside business and, living off that currency exchange from money coming in, I don't know how I would have survived, the last couple of years with all of the changes happening globally, and just, again, the rising costs in Trinidad. But absolutely, we need to be doing that, though. So I hope to see, what the stake that Trinidad has in it, and I hope to see us involved in it, hopefully.
Perfect.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I'll just kind of pivot on what you're saying there. If we are not involved, what does that mean for Trinidad and Tobago? Because we've seen history dictates, not only with currency matters, but even with other matters. Some people want to be in, some countries want to be in, some countries saying they don't want to be in. And I think history has shown what has happened when you're not in with the rest of the CARICOM on certain matters. So are we going to go our own path? I guess, again, as I said earlier, the powers that be, they usually watch the Big Potato podcast. So I know some of these pertinent questions that are being raised here. I'm certain by the week after this episode, there's going to be some sort of note in the parliament, or some minister is going to come out and just randomly make a statement about something. But definitely, it goes. Their ears are peeled to the media, the new media, I should say. And, that's why we're having this digital discussion, this digital world discussion tonight. And the other thing that is interesting, are we all in a position as countries in the Caribbean to even trade? I don't want to say evenly, but from a digital standpoint, do we have the same infrastructure in place throughout each country? So even if countries want to get on board with this thing, are we ready? We know Jamaica is very technologically savvy, one of the leaders in the Caribbean. But after Jamaica, where do we go?
Well, I guess it's a pilot project. So once everything moves smoothly, then people will, allocate the right resources to the right
to get involved.
Yeah. Well,
so
we'll see how it goes, right?
As we say, QTNA, questions that need answers. And hopefully soon we're going to get some answers on that. But moving right along to what caught my eye this week. And again, this is something that is very close to you, Keron. And I saw that you even had an article and a blog on this. But I took this one from Forbes. I saw it last week or week before. How small businesses can survive Google's AI overview. And I had to chuckle when I saw the headline, and that is what actually made me read the article, because I can't say, let's just say 9 out of 10, the 10 last times that I Googled something that I actually scrolled down. I think I took the overview or the little limited piece of the overview and then Googled something else from there, or made a decision immediately. And when I read the article, the data supported that is actually happening with most people right now. So if this is happening globally, and just to give the audience a bit of insight into what exactly we mean here, when you Google search something, some persons may use other search engines, but let's just use Google. Before the rampant AI involvement, you would see a number of results pop up. If you search, let's just say, a great place to eat Thai food in Trinidad, you might see a few options pop up, and you could go ahead and click on this restaurant, see their menu, or somebody may have written a review or a blog or something, and you could get that information. Or sometimes you may even see recipes, because it's educational stuff as well, where someone may have posted something and say, hey, instead of buying it, why not make it? But now, for the past few months, every single time I search something, there's the result that comes up with a nice Gemini, especially nice star-looking thing that happens, and then you see the results and you're like, okay, that's it. All right, goodbye. And you're not even scrolling down. Now, what is happening, what that is causing is that persons are not going to click through. So it's diminishing the value of some persons' SEO efforts, when they do all this work to get their website seen and to rank higher and so on, it's also affecting, obviously, businesses. When you think about publishers, and you're a publisher as well, or when you think about different types of businesses with news pages and so on, if I could get a result right there at the top, there's no way I'm going to be clicking down to go to your business page or your company's page. So this is a global issue that is happening right now. And I don't know if issue is the word I want to use, but it's happening. It's a global trend. And my main deal with this is, where does that position even Caribbean businesses? Because if this is this global problem, what is happening in Caribbean?
Yeah. So it's a very good talking point. I would say it's definitely not an issue, because what's happening is, we know that whenever we would search for something, right? So let me start off by this. How people, the number one way that people discover businesses is that it's not through social media. It's not through a viral post. That's not how people discover businesses. That's how they discover content creators. How the average person every single day discovers a business is that it starts off with a problem. I wake up this morning, my back hurts. What's the first thing we're going to do?
Look for a solution to the pain.
We're going to Google it.
Yeah. Lower back pain.
We're going to jump on Google it. Lower back pain. What is this? Give it all the information. All right. That's the first thing we do. What shows up in the search results typically usually would have been links to relevant queries that you would have had, and we would have been the ones going through the multiple links, doing our own homework, researching to try to find the answer. When we are edified enough about the problem, then we kind of have a direction as to how we go about Googling and searching for the solution, which typically then, if we've jumped on a website and they're edifying us about the back pain, we're going to look at the brand. Okay, it's a doctor. Well, let me go and, check out what this doctor is all about. Let me go check out the social media. And that's typically how you find out about businesses, right? What the AI overviews have done and what AI search has done, because you could jump into ChatGPT, Perplexity, and ask your questions, ask as many questions as you want. The difference today now is that not that SEO is irrelevant. It's not that it's hurting anybody. The problem is that people haven't upgraded their knowledge on what SEO is today. It's just evolved. Now, Instead of just trying to rank for page one on Google, now your goal, the goalpost has shifted. Now you want to be the citable source for all searches in AI. So the AI overviews, the only thing it's doing is it's already pulling all the information to answer your question as best as possible in that overview. But on the right-hand side, it's showing you all of the sources it's getting the information from. So SEO has never been more relevant, because now you need to focus on being the citable source of the information. And now you have another level of an intelligence, of an AI intelligence that is going through your information to see if you're even relevant or credible to be shown in the AI overviews, right? So it's another filtering out through any bad thing. Now, with respect to the Caribbean, my problem with the Caribbean is the Caribbean never showed up to begin with. Not for any other reason than self-inflicted pain, because we don't create content. The Caribbean region on a whole mindset is to gatekeep information. And because that is the mindset, to gatekeep information across the entire region, we were never putting out information to be found anyway. So that's why 90% of all searches that we do in the Caribbean, not just Trinidad, but across the region, result in information being shown to us from external markets that are irrelevant to us, because, number one, how many businesses do you know have a website? If you don't have a website, you're disqualified from even showing up, right? The links when you Google, so Web 2.0, when you Google, you got links to information to answer your question. The links are websites. They're all websites. They're content on websites. So number one, you don't have a website, you were disqualified in Web 2.0. Now with AI and generative AI search, with the AI overviews, again, the AI tools are pulling from credible sources. They're pulling the information from what they learn on Google. We are the ones that put the information on Google. So if the entire Caribbean region believes in gatekeeping information, they don't believe in websites, they don't believe in creating content, that's why we don't get any information to begin with across the Caribbean. So they were cooked in Web 2.0. The gap has grown so vastly different that the gap has grown so much further now with Web 3.0. And my worry is we did not regionally grasp or put anything in place to take advantage of Web 2.0. We are still discussing the even relevance of a website. And to me, that's crazy. Because that's step one to even being found in the number one and number two ways that businesses get discovered. The search engines like Google and Bing, secondarily through the AI tools, and the AI tools are now on the rise as more people are using them. So we have a lot of problems. And honestly, it's not even an infrastructural thing. It's not even a government thing. The number one problem that is across the Caribbean region is the age-old problem from what Bob Marley talked about. And that is we are still mentally enslaved. We are not upgrading ourselves. We're not upgrading our skill sets. We are putting our head in the sand, and we're just ignoring globalization and what is happening in the world. That is my biggest gripe with what's going on in the region.
So are we just putting our head in the sand, and shying away or ducking away from and thinking, all right, well, this will never impact us in an adverse way?
Well, we were never in the race in the first place, as Mr. Rose said. So it's not gonna harm us, right? The harm already done.
Yeah.
But there's nothing I could add to what was said between two of you. So I would take it from a different angle. Remember when we were in Lockjack, and I doing my research. I scrolled in page after page after page after page.
Down to page 20-some.
Until I find something, until everything is just being repeated and I stop finding new information, I researching. And that is the danger I see in this here, because I was that way, but you know that people in the class, whatever is the first thing
pops up.
That's what they're going with, right? So now with this overview, it's going to get even worse, right?
So you're thinking
so
about
where's your critical
accuracy.
thinking? Where's your, not just the accuracy, because the article they're citing will be something citable.
Right.
But it would always be another argument, a counter. You're not seeing both sides, and that is the critical thinking out there for you to know, evaluate both things and say, okay, well, my idea, my vision is this. You just go into what they tell you. You're not really getting a chance to analyze it and look for the pros and cons at all. As I said back in, you know how I used to do it?
Yeah. Sorrow.
Sorrow.
Yeah.
So that was just my thoughts on it.
No, very pertinent point as well. And I mean, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say no, and that makes sense from a base level of before the AI overviews and the AI tools. If you were doing any research on Google, you would have nobody opens up one link. You would have opened up 5-6 links, and then you would have read enough to then compare and contrast and see who's making what points. So you're absolutely right. So now more people would look at the AI overview and go with that,
Just
right?
go
and
along.
it will be a combination of multiple sources, but that removes their own discernment. As you said, if you were doing it from before and you were the one manually doing it, you would have been forced to read enough of the information on the links and then make your own decision.
Right.
So that is going to be a side effect. And again, if we're not even, if we in the region are still gatekeeping and we're not creating our websites, we're not putting out content to even be found, again, now we're not even looking at regional information. We're making decisions from other markets' content that is irrelevant to us. And that to me is the number one reason I get business, is because people are edified and spend hours and hours and hours researching and learning about things that are irrelevant to our market. And then they put to use what the experts in other markets are saying, but because they don't have the discernment to know what is relevant for the US market. And this is where, my background has really helped me, because I was born in Trinidad, but raised most of my life in Canada.
Right.
When I hear people from the UK, people from Canada, people from the US talking, I already know, okay, I can't do this in the Caribbean. This is only if I was in Canada. right? So I automatically have that filter. And I'm always thinking, okay, if this is how it's going to work over here, what would be the localized version to that? But guess what? There's no information for me to look from. I have had to network behind the scenes, meet with all the owners and CEO. That's how I know everybody in payments. Nobody's putting out the information. Is because I've had to go in and meet with them. And then whatever I learn, whatever I implement in my own business, then people come and say, hey, how did you do that? What's going on here? What is this? What is that?
Right.
And that is what has transitioned me into the role that I'm in, because again, I realized I'm learning all these things behind the scenes for my business, but there's nobody teaching you how to build in this new digital world. And that's kind of just how I've transitioned into this space.
Yeah.
And you're doing human service, by the way. So thank you very much. Definitely needs to be recommended for a national award in my view. But
wow, thank you.
Moving right along though, and that is not just me being witty. that is a real
genuine.
comment.
Really
It's genuine. It's genuine. Because
you.
as you said, this is something that I think, obviously we are based in TNT, but we can see what is happening throughout the rest of the Caribbean, and it's absolutely spot on that, we have a mentality where we have our businesses, but you know what? I'm just going to do the IG page. I'm not going to go all out and have a website. I'm not going to start the website. Why don't you have a website? Well, it's too costly. Well, we know the whole barrage of excuses. We don't even have
because
to go
we
through them.
use those excuses.
We use those excuses sometimes too, right? So I was trying not to put the bullseye here, but really and truly, it is coming. It is coming, right? But and I think that is also on the list as well. It's coming, it's coming soon. We're working on it, and that sort of thing. But we know the mentality of people in the Caribbean, people in the West Indies, if you want to say that as well. And I think it was a critical point you made as well about the gatekeeping of information, and particularly for business owners. Why would you want your potential clients to see only international results when it is they Google search something or do an AI search? Please tell me. And I'll leave it right there as we stick up in this our first segment called What Caught My Eye, brought to you by Ibomac. Thank you so much for listening, understanding, and stay tuned. We'll be right back. And welcome back, you guys, to the Big Potato Podcast tonight. A very special episode, critical episode for our audience. Mr. Keron Rose is on with us, and we thank him so much for being here as we talk all things inside of the digital world, our current digital world. Now, Keron is actually in Thailand, and we talked about that earlier. And he is what we now classify as a digital nomad. So I wanted to actually start there because, you spend time in Canada, you spend time in TNT, possibly other parts of the world, vacation and working, etc. Thailand is your new home and you're a digital nomad, which essentially means that you can work from anywhere in the world. And I think for most people, COVID and the pandemic was the time where persons realized, we could work remotely. We could actually do stuff remotely. We don't have to go to an office anymore. So tell us a little more about this digital nomadism. As I say, it's a trend that is happening seemingly across the world.
Yeah, so where do we begin? It starts with, I think before we get to being a digital nomad, I think it starts with understanding the new world of work, right? We need to have a paradigm shift in the Caribbean. And I would have thought COVID would have given us that paradigm shift because everything shut down. We were forced to do everything digital. We had no choice, right? But clearly COVID wasn't long enough because as it finished, we
Straight
went right
back.
back. we
Yeah.
Back to normal. Back to normal. Back to normal.
we went right back, right? We went right
Yeah.
back, and it's hurting us. So I think the paradigm shift has to be understanding that the old way of work is gone, and it's fading out very fast. And when you understand where the new jobs are coming from, so like if anybody has checked out the Future of Jobs report for 2025 that was done by the World Economic Forum, or the Coursera Job Skills 2025 report. Those are two really important reports that I think everybody should at least download, dump into ChatGPT and ask the questions, because I know you're not going to read 800 pages done by the two reports, right? Download the reports, throw it in ChatGPT and ask your questions about the best jobs to go ahead and check out, right? But when you understand that the World Economic Forum says that there's going to be 92 million job titles that exist today that are going to be gone, completely gone over the next 5 years due to maturation of technology, artificial intelligence, robotics, yada, yada, yada. But 175 million new job titles are coming on board, and the majority of them are going to be digital first jobs. So when you start to upskill, and you start to now get these new digital skill sets, and you start to now realize that, wait a minute, I don't have to just work in Trinidad. I can upskill and I could get clients around the world, or I can go work remotely for companies around the world. When you have that paradigm shift, and that's a critical one, because the average person believes the only way to earn money is by exchanging their time for money in the form of showing up physically at a job, right? Now that the cost of living is rising, and we know that eventually the subsidies that we have been given across TNT for a variety of things are going to be gone, and people are trying to figure out how I can earn more money, they're struggling because, well, for one, they don't want to leave their current job. And there's not enough time in a day to go and just pick up 2 and 3 jobs. I'm from Canada. I know about working 2 and 3 jobs. That's all we have been doing for all of my adult life. Is the economy was so expensive. You had to work 2 and 3 jobs while putting yourself in school, right? Putting yourself through school. So there's not enough time for that. And that's the fastest way to burnout, right? However, there is a concept, what we call geo arbitrage. And geo arbitrage is living or earning a higher currency while living in a lower cost economy. And that's something that we can do in Trinidad. When you start upskilling and now getting, these jobs from people outside of Trinidad and Tobago, you're going to get paid in USD, and you could set yourself up where you could start to earn USD. The money gets deposited into either your local USD account, or you could use any one of the bank accounts outside of TNT and have those funds, go into those accounts. That way you have full access to your USD. When you have that paradigm shift, you need that, because now once you start earning outside of TNT, all right, that allows you now to at least be able to not just work from home, but work from anywhere. And there's a big difference. Work from home is your company tells you, okay, come into the office 3 days a week and, ensure that you're at home to do your job. Sometimes companies are setting you up at your home with internet or their computers or whatever infrastructure, but you're limited to home, right? That's cool. I think as a step one, that's cool, because at least you get some of your time back and you're not as stressed going in traffic. But this real shift is when you're able to work from anywhere. So that's being able to work for a company outside of TNT, where you're not limited to typical office hours, and it doesn't matter where you work. You could work in Chagaramas, you could work in San Fernando. It doesn't matter where you work. You can work from anywhere. Once you have put yourself in that position, the next step to graduating to becoming a digital nomad is, one, you need to be able to work from anywhere. But then what turns you into a digital nomad is now you're exercising your right to travel. So now, as countries, there's 66 countries right now. Slovenia is the 66th that came out last week that announced their new digital nomad visa. And as countries are rolling out more digital nomad visa programs, and the reason being is because digital nomads, let me say this first. You see how through generations and generations we've migrated to the US, Canada, and the UK, And all these countries now are shutting their doors to immigrants because immigrants keep coming and taking all the people them jobs. Digital nomads solve that problem because digital nomads, all of the visas do not allow you to work for local companies. You have to come with your job. You have to come with your business. You have to come with your income. And now that you are physically living in countries that have a lower cost of living and you're getting paid that higher currency, you benefit because now you're going to get a better quality of life. But the countries benefit because now you're bringing all of that salary and you're spending it all locally in the economy. So once you decide to exercise your right to say, you know what, Trinidad, Jamaica, Barbados, it was great, but now I want to go and see the world. I want to go experience a new culture. And you go and sign up for a digital nomad visa. And you now exercise your right to go and live outside of your home country. And people think that a digital nomad has to constantly keep on traveling. No, I'm able to work from anywhere, whether I'm in China, whether I'm in Bali, whether I'm in Vietnam, I could work from anywhere. But I'm based in Thailand. I have a routine in Thailand. I don't travel every single day. I don't travel every single week. I still have a routine. But because I'm able to work from anywhere and I do travel and I'm able to work in any country that I go, that's what puts you in that position to become a digital nomad.
Well, I know Japan recently, in addition to the 66 Slovenia, Japan recently also did the nomad visa. And they were identifying those same exact reasons. You're spending your foreign exchange in their country. You know, and they're not taking away your job. My question will be, what could the Caribbean do? Because I could see people from the Caribbean saying, I want to go outside. But there are a lot of people from our outside will love to be a digital nomad in the Caribbean. So what incentives would you think we need, as not just Trinidad, the Caribbean, to really encourage that?
So we have some major benefits, right? And funny enough, my article coming out today.
Well, see, we mentioned it as coming out.
The article coming out in the Observer and Newsday to Wednesday and Thursday is on this exact same thing. Exactly what does the Caribbean need to do, right? So the model is this, right? And in the article, I frame it up like this. You see how whenever you would call some companies and it gets routed to India, it gets routed to the Philippines, and everybody collectively shook. Oh God, man, they can't even speak English, right?
Yeah.
That needs to be the Caribbean.
Right.
We need to be, because of technology, for the first time ever, we now have the ability to upskill enough where we can become the outsourced labor that India, China, Malaysia, all these Asian countries have been living off of from the dawn of time, right? We could be doing that. We have a lower cost of living. We have a lower cost of doing business than it is in most of the first world countries, where we can. It makes business sense for them to outsource to us. But most importantly, we are English speaking. Right? We are English speaking, and we are on the same time zone. So you have these key benefits, right? So the benefits are there for us. What do we need to put in place to attract remote workers? The most important thing, it starts off with policies. We need to understand. So one of the reasons why I chose Thailand over, because originally I was actually going to move to Colombia. Like last year, me and my family were in Colombia, and I was like, hey guys, the next time you see me, you have to start flying into Medellin, right? But the main thing is, you need to have an established digital nomad visa. Thailand has a 5-year visa program. Vietnam is rolling out a 5-year visa program and a 10-year program. A lot of the countries that do have digital nomad visas are 1-year visas, and then you would just renew every single year. But the most important thing for a digital nomad is we need to understand, how are we legally staying in your country? As you two know, we see a lot of comments from foreigners in Trinidad who have seemed to be content creators who are staying in the country for years and years. And the question is, how is this possible? Well, it's possible because of the legal gaps. We can just come to Trinidad, we can stay for 3 months, the stamp, and then we could leave, go right Barbados, and come right back and get another 3 months. And you could just keep on doing that. But you can't do that in Asia, because this is where the new ETAs, new electronic travel authorization things that they're making everybody sign up online for. That is what's stopping those things. They want, come to the country. But when you start showing a pattern of you stay for 2 months, you leave, you come right back 2 days later, and you just keep on doing that for years, Asian countries will pull you aside in immigration and be like, hey, you did this 5 times in a row. You gotta wait for a whole year just doing border runs, right? What is your long-term plan? We're not telling you you can't come. What is your long-term plan? And at that point, they refuse the right to let you enter the country. So we need to have a digital nomad visa that specifies, longer the better. And what I would say is you do a 1 year, a 3 year, and a 5 year. And if you want the 5 year, it's more expensive. If you want the 3 year, that's your middle tier. And if you want like the most expensive won't be the 1 year, right? Try to get people on the longer term visas. The most expensive being the 1 year for the fees, then the 3 year, then the 5 year. What that does, and the other reason why all these countries are rolling out the digital nomad visas is because of tourism, tourism, high season and low seasons. The digital nomads are the equalizing factor because now you've attracted these people that are coming in with their salaries, and whether or not, the regular tourists are coming and going and it's low season, you still have people in your country that are adding to your GDP without taking away any local reason. We're only net positive, right? We are only net positive. And if we don't do stuff like setting up the visa program, you run into situations like Mexico, where Mexico City, they have the space and they have all the housing, but they never had the policies and infrastructure in place. So they just jumped out today and just said, hey, digital nomads, come to Mexico City and rent, right? And what it did was it was gentrification overnight, where everybody came in. There was no policy, and they've now lost control. So when we talk about digital nomads, a lot of people will comment to my stuff right now and be like, yeah, but look at Mexico. I'm like, thank you for pointing out Mexico. Mexico is the poster child globally for what not to do. When everybody speaks about Mexico right now, country-wise, Mexico City is the case study of what not to do. Yet in the Caribbean, people look at that and say, well, that's what digital nomads are doing to countries. And again, I can't think for people, right? But hopefully we can plant the seeds and edify them. So what do we need? We need visas. We need to ensure that we can stay long-term. And then we also need the right infrastructure. You have to have the right housing policies, right? And you need to ensure that your local citizens are protected, because the benefits are there right now. Even all the businesses that I'm seeing I'm here 11 months, and I'll give this example before we move on. My laundry lady across the street, right? I literally just cross the street and I give her my laundry and she washes and folds, and I pay like 30 TT, and I come back, everything's washed and folded, sealed in wrap and given back to me, right? When I moved here last year, it was just her. She's in her 60s. It was just her by herself. Because my condo across the street has been, all these new foreigners are coming in, all this new money. Well, you go by her now, it's a whole team inside there.
Wow. Expansion.
Expansion. It's a
Employment.
whole team.
Yep.
Because the government is doing what they need to do to attract regular people. So we busy running down oil and gas. The rest of the countries are actually diversifying, and digital nomads are a low-hanging fruit. Just give us a long-term visa. Set up, ensure that you have areas that have room and board and whatnot. Ensure that there's restaurants, there's co-working spaces. Like, we don't need a lot, and we have most of the stuff that we need. Trinidad is low cost of living, lower cost than the rest of the Caribbean. Subsidized electricity. Once we get a hold of crime, but as we see, crime can still bring in people, right? We still have people coming to tour the islands for crime too, right?
And they may consider themselves digital nomads as well. Just saying. Exactly.
They are,
not legally. Not legally.
Not legally. But those are some of the things. Those are some of the most important things that we need to put in place in order to really start to attract digital nomads.
All right.
Fully agreed.
Fully agreed and fully understood.
Oh.
Yeah, shoot, man.
Well, I was still on the digital nomad topic.
Okay.
So, which recent innovation do you believe will disrupt the Caribbean over the next decade the most? out of all of the innovation, I mean, you in the heart of innovation in Asia there, what is coming for us in the Caribbean?
I think what's coming for us, and this is my biggest worry, is not even tech. It's just the mindset towards tech. We have been conditioned for as long as I can think of to be tech averse, right? There is no trust in the government across the Caribbean, right? As much as we laud Jamaica for innovation, the Jamaicans don't feel like they're innovating. The Jamaicans feel like there's no innovation happening, right? The Jamaicans are actually scared that they are being seen as the leader because they don't feel any of the innovation that's grabbing the headlines. They don't feel that on the ground. And the mindset towards technology, the mindset towards upskilling and learning, that is what is the problem to me. Because today, right, I lecture in multiple universities. I'm a program advisor in the University of South Florida. The problem is our relationship with upskilling and the speed of learning that is required to succeed today. If you believe that education could only come from the tertiary institutions, you're cooked. If you're in law, if you're in medical, if you're in engineering, if you're in those regulated careers, tertiary education is always going to be there, right? That's always that's the no choice. But for all the new jobs that are coming out, they require a skills first approach. You are going to have to figure out what is your capacity for learning and what can you really dedicate in terms of building up your capacity for the speed of which you learn. If you're not learning, if you're not experimenting every single day, you are going to be behind. Because for me, all of the opportunities that I get, not just in the Caribbean, but globally, they all happen because I am constantly just experimenting, learning, and doing. And and again, it becomes a muscle, right? It becomes a muscle. You see something, you experiment it within your own capacity, and you learn that skill or you add that to your repertoire. And that is how you're going to find success. So what is going to disrupt the Caribbean is our tech-averse nature. We love to say, no, you see that tech thing? I'm not too tech savvy. We prefer to deal with people. But we also say that we don't have customer service across the Caribbean, right? So which one is it? Which one is it,
like,
right?
Pick a struggle, right?
Pick a struggle. Pick a struggle. Pick a struggle. So that to me is the most worrisome thing because like I said earlier, I can't teach you how to think. That worries me the most.
Now you mentioned there upskilling and probably retooling, and it has been mentioned a number of times in this probably 45 minutes or so that we've been chatting so far. So I think that is a key message to our audience and to anybody that our audience could even talk to. You're having a conversation with them or you pass a person on the street and you say good morning. The upskilling and retooling conversation needs to happen, even if it's a complete stranger. Because I think we all know, looking at Silicon Valley and how many other examples, that innovation really thrives when you have multiple people really doing stuff, as you say, trying stuff, experimenting. And, it could build that whole innovative landscape that we're looking for. But in terms of specifically, again, we focus a lot on our Caribbean people because we all want to see our Caribbean people do well. The upskilling, you mentioned looking at the WEF report and checking that out to see what jobs will be gone, what jobs will be coming on stream over the next few years. And some of them wouldn't even last an entire 5 years. I think within a few months, there would be some that are gone. So in terms of this upskilling topic, I want to direct this now to and linking that to what we were talking about with the digital nomadism and digital nomads, Fiverr and other platforms like this. How could our Caribbean people, Caribbean entrepreneurs, Caribbean freelancers really make their name on some of these platforms?
I'm laughing because right before we logged in, I got a comment on a post just before I logged in that a guy commented and he said, "Hey, I took your advice. I registered and built my profile on Fiverr, and I just want to tell you I got my first booking in the middle of the night. Thank you."
Wow.
Just before.
we didn't talk to Keron about any of these things before. This natural coincidence.
Great
Just wanted to
minds,
throw
great
that in.
minds thinking alike.
It's a natural coincidence, right?
Yeah.
And again, it comes back down to, you know, what is your capacity to learn? What is your capacity to experiment? What is your capacity to be seen as a beginner? Because I think a lot of the reasons why people don't want to start is they don't want to be seen starting from the bottom. And that shame or that ridicule from their friends and family, you know what it is when I'm sure you guys have all gone through it, where you have an idea and you turn to your family, your friends, you say, "Hey, I think I might do this," and you give it your heart and soul, and that response, and they say, "What you know about that? You could do that? No, that can't work. That won't listen." Yeah. That is what we are facing. Right. And I think the biggest problem, and I know this was a problem for me, and I had to learn this over time. Coming from Canada, coming from a big market, and now you're coming back into the Caribbean, you're coming into a smaller market where people haven't been as exposed as you, right? When I would say when I said I was going to do my Droid Island business, right? I remember there was a successful business owner who was a franchise holder for a telecoms company in Trinidad, right? So doing good business, making good money. And I remember, again, because of where he is in the business and because of what I was doing with the tech blogging, I was like, hey, I want to do Droid Island. I want to start blogging about technology. I want to start doing workshops and training people on tech, just like I was doing in Apple when I worked at Apple in Canada, right? I want to start doing some of these things here. And that successful business owner told me, nah, that can't work in Trinidad. People don't want to learn. People don't read. They're not going to come to work. Yeah. And that's what the man told me. And the minute I did everything, it was the complete opposite. So you also have to be willing to say, you know what? Let me not tell anybody, you know, anything. Let me just go in and do it. Let me just go in and try it out for myself. Get my own experience, get my own knowledge. If I fail, great. At least I did it. And I know, okay, this isn't going to work. But so many of our amazing entrepreneurs and amazing ideas never see the light of day because you are explaining your ideas to the wrong crowd. And because, and I'm saying it like this, because Trinidad is a smaller market that hasn't had a lot of the exposure as some of the other markets, right? The chances of you telling your idea to people who have no idea what you're talking about and are going to bring you down increase.
Because they have no
increases.
Clue.
They have no clue, right? They have no clue. So, you know, just try it out for yourself. Get your own results, get your own wins, your own failures, and then start to really, you know, show people. Because the people who are around you, chances are probably not even going to be the ones that support you. They're not going to be your ideal customers. You stop worrying about whether your friends and family support you. I could care less. The people who I solve the problems for, they are the ones that I'm trying to get. I'm not trying to get the acknowledgement of my family. My mom don't even know what the hell I do. Right? She just knows that her boy is traveling. And I just let her know, Mom, I'm jumping on a plane. Hey, I've landed. I reached safe. Come and take a look. Look how China looks. And that's how we move, right? So that's one piece of advice for everybody.
But just to wind on this segment, when people tell you you can't do something, to me, that always motivates.
Yep.
I remember when I first told people I go and write a book. You ever write a book?
You must never write a story.
You understand somewhere, right? Experiment. And right now, that book, I think I'm an author now.
Yeah, well, you are.
But that's a hell, I have a big audio book now. You know, the thing doing well. Yeah. So don't let anybody tell you what you can't do because they can't do it.
Correct.
Yes. That's not what you could do.
And it's a lot of projection.
It's a lot of projection.
Yep.
And
my goodness.
Yeah.
And then with regard to the job losses, I'm telling all my friends, learn to trim. Learn to trim. When you're getting married and you're taking that photo, you want a proper haircut. You're not going to try a robot or some computer to give you a haircut. You always want a fresh face. I don't know about Mr. Rose, right?
Yeah.
With his hairstyle. But generally, learn to trim because certain things, hairdressing, certain things not, I can't see, 50 years, 100 years from now is a whole different thing. I can't see that far. But for now, for the immediate future, people want to go buy a man to line up his feed. They're not going to trust a robot to give her that feed.
So let me throw something in there, right? Let me throw something in there.
Yeah.
Here's where the world is going because it's already happening on this side.
Right.
We're going to see robot hairdressers. And those are going to be ram out. You know why? Because we are already seeing, they've already rolled out machine massage therapists.
Yeah.
And the machine massage therapists in Asia, people use these things, right? What has to happen now, right? And I agree with you. I agree that yes, the skills are going to be, whether it's digital skills or whether it's a trade or whatever, right? They're going to be more important. But the twist is, you now have to give people a reason to choose you over the robots. And we can win easily over the robots by creating an experience. So if you're just a basic shop, just trimming hair, and you don't have a different value proposition than the robots, listen, people are willing to try the robots because everybody's looking for convenience. Everybody's looking for speed. That is why we go to the robots, right? But when you want an experience, I want to go to a human for an experience. When I go to the barbershop, I want an experience. I want to be able to, I don't want to speak to the barber. I don't want to message the barber. I want to just be able to go into your application or your website. I want to book. I want to prepay. I want to prepay, or maybe even there's a service where you have a monthly subscription that's cheaper if I buy a subscription for four haircuts versus paying you. Like, I want these things. You got to create that type of experience. And when I come into your shop, I need to feel like a VIP. And we can easily do these things. Hey, here's a free water. I go into my shop, my barber shop here in Thailand. As soon as you come in, a free water, a whole of water, right?
Yep.
Create the experiences regardless of whatever field you are in, hairdressing, restaurants, whatever. The experiences will always separate you from the robots. The robots are going to make their money. They're coming, they're here, they're going to make their money, and there's a place for them. And when you want that, you go to that, no problem. But when you go to a human anything now, experience is going to be more important than ever before.
Right, that was one of our future questions. Do you think service can compete with the technology? So I'm glad we touched on that. I don't need to ask that question. But remember where we are not where you are. So robots might be giving haircuts out there. But Trinidad,
sure.
that's 50, 100 years from now. No,
you could imagine
that's not anytime soon.
sitting on that barber chair with a robot holding a razor blade and not too
I'm not
sure
trying
about
that.
that. That's Trini.
But look at what Avala announced today. Avala announced today that they just released the first robot server in Trinidad and Tobago.
In Trinidad, yes,
So
they did.
I don't want to say, I don't want to say not in Trinidad anymore because we have no idea, right? I think for the first time ever, things are going to happen that may not have ever happened before, mainly because, right? Think of it from this perspective. For Avala to go and invest in robots is because who usually doesn't come to work on time?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Who's usually calling in sick?
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Who's usually calling in sick? We complain about our workforce every single day. The
Or it rained.
business owners, right, or it rains, the business owners are losing money. The business owners struggle to create consistent experiences because the majority of these jobs are high turnover jobs and they have to do something. So because of that, I think now that technology and AI and artificial intelligence, not AI, the robots, I think because they're now becoming more mainstream and they're more accessible, I think we're going to start to see more business owners investing in it because our workforce has not been doing a good job historically.
Right. Excellent point.
Yeah.
Excellent point.
I still not going far to my robot. You see, Ababa had a flicky hand, so Ababa had a flicky hand when he giving the feed, had a flicky hand at an angle. And just when you take a wedding photo, that's on your mantle for years, you know. As the photo you showed at your funeral, you know.
Hey, let me tell you.
I'm not taking that chance.
But here's the thing, right? Look, last month they did the very first remote surgery with a doctor in Italy, and he performed the surgery in China. right?
VR.
So,
Yeah.
right. So,
Mhm.
I mean, if you're going for open heart surgery done by a remote surgeon who's on the beach somewhere in Napoli,
Yeah. With a
what's
drink, you drink it.
what's that
Yeah.
trip?
Was that true, right?
Yeah. I agree.
I
I
this
agree.
guy is very serious about his haircuts. And I definitely will be showing this episode to my barber as well to let him remind him of the experience that I should be having when it is I come to his barber shop.
Where's my hot towel? Where's my
Yeah,
hot
exactly right. But at least start with the water, right? You know, something. Please.
You book your time, you reach a salary tower.
I'm telling you, right? Let's not even get into the barbers. So, good evening to all the barbers as well. Thanks for joining us. But thanks so much for your feedback on that topic, Keron. And I think it's a good time for us to take a short break. And we'll be back with some more. In the next segment, we're going to find out more about where you should really be focusing your attention as a Caribbean entrepreneur in this digital space. So stick around. This is the Big Potato Podcast. From Ibadan to Heliad, from slavery to independence, learn how Heliad, the Trinidad All-Stars, created the Trini identity and how that was leveraged for our independence. Get your copy on Amazon now. That's right, you guys. What an episode.
Yeah.
We're having a wonderful episode tonight. And I'm telling you guys, every single insight in this interview, in this episode, in this discussion, it can help you to take some action in your life. I've already been noting down some stuff here that I need to do. Some upskilling that I need to do. Some things that I need to research and really take care of. Because, I mean, man, this digital world is not the new normal. I don't even want to call it anything normal. It definitely is something out of this world. And we were talking a little bit off air there before we jump into the would you rather, that as many of our guests have said before, if you get the opportunity to travel, you get the opportunity to head on out to China, to anywhere in Asia, or perhaps any first world country that is doing things that you may be interested in or things that you don't even know about. Grab that opportunity, whether it be a company trip or you're heading out on your own, you save up and you take a nice vacation, you book it early so you get some nice prices on your travel and your accommodation. Head on out if you're building business, if you're a business leader and entrepreneur, see what the world has to offer.
As you always say, opportunity. When you see things working outside and you know it's missing back home, you bring it back.
Of course.
Like my brother Simon, we had him on his first season.
Yeah.
With
Pesh.
Pesh. He saw what's working outside there and he tried to bring it down here.
Yep.
You see the opportunities.
Yep.
Right? So, yeah.
And
Travel and open your eyes.
Pesh is a digital currency as well. So I know Keron would be very aware of what it is.
Digital currency. Simon will take offense to that.
The wallet. Yeah. Sorry about that. My apologies, Simon. My apologies. Sorry about that. But let's jump back into this episode. So, we're about to jump into the Would You Rather segment. I know this is quickly becoming some folks' favorite part of the show. So, Stuart, do you have a Would You Rather for Keron tonight?
Yes, well, the last couple were too easy.
Too easy.
So
Yeah, too straightforward.
too straightforward. Everyone agreed.
Yeah.
But this one has some nuance to it.
All right.
Would you? No, it's an easy question. No, it's not. No, you'll understand. You'll understand when I ask the question.
Yeah.
So we're in August 2025 right now. Would you rather invest in technology or invest in people? There's some nuance in that question.
Yeah, mind-blowing one.
Yeah.
Now, are we talking, when we say invest, are we talking about investment like investing in the stocks of a company? Or are we
No,
talking
investing
like
in a
the skill
person,
sets?
the skill set,
Yeah.
believing in something. So if it's a person, it's that case. But other than that, investing in technology that might be able to solve the problem that person might have been doing. Or so. Would you prefer to invest in people generally across the board as opposed to technology across the board?
Yeah, I think right now, I would say, especially for our region in particular, we need to invest in the people because we have some deep reconditioning to do, right? The mindset that people have when they think about the Caribbean is that the Caribbean is slow pace, it's relaxing, it's sun, sea, beach, and coconut butter that they can just tan out. Like that's what people think of when it comes to the Caribbean, right? But at the end of the day, you have people living there, and we have maintained that slower pace of living. And I think that was great for as long as it has served us. But now that is no longer serving us. Now we cannot just rely on tourism across the Caribbean, and heck, in Trinidad we don't rely on tourism. So, we
that's a
don't
fact.
rely on tourism.
Yeah.
So I think now we need to be investing in our people because we need to get them to come out of what has been working for us in the region for the last, since independence. That is not going to get the job done now. We need to get people to understand that the learning doesn't just happen in tertiary education. If you really want to be successful today, the learning happens every single day because it cannot be that think about this for a second. You have all of the AI tools. So you have ChatGPT, Gemini, Perplexity, Claude, Grok, you have all of them. Those tools alone have updates every single day. Right? And that's the difference of you losing money or you making money. Yeah. But then you have the search engines, then you have social media platforms, and these things are changing every single day.
Yep.
So we need to change and we need to recondition our people to start seeing that the education, you don't have to wait to go to school, you don't have to wait to go to university to learn a skill set. If we do not invest in our people and really get them to have that paradigm shift, technology doesn't matter. Because in the Caribbean, we do not have technology problems. We have people problems. We have a bunch of technology that is available to us, whether it's internationally we have available to us and we can access it. And then we have a bunch of technology locally that is available for us. And everything is underutilized. Every single thing is underutilized across the board, right? And why is it underutilized? Because we still say things like, well, we don't even need a website. We don't need a website. Nobody reads. Nobody does this. Nobody. Until we understand how these things work, right? And until we start to develop people and develop that learning muscle where people are willing to now experiment with the tech, because I'll tell you this, because of that conditioning for us being tech averse for so long, you know what the most important thing is that we don't have in the Caribbean? We don't have a curiosity for technology.
Yeah,
we leave that at the door.
So
Once
true.
we see, look, just go in the grocery, go in any grocery that has self-checkout. Look at the self-checkout
shortest line
versus the shortest line. There's almost never anybody in self-checkout.
Yep.
And when you ask people, why is it that you don't use the technology? No. You see
my credit card.
So there isn't a trust, and it's not just a trust. And this is why I say I started off by saying there's no trust in the government and there's no trust in the institutions. Because when you ask people, why don't you use self-checkout, or why don't you use online banking, or why don't you, when you ask them, it's, but what if something happens? What if I get hacked?
Yeah.
Well, guess what? Getting hacked is the digital equivalent of you having all your physical possessions and you getting robbed in your home, right? It's the same thing, but you put things in place to minimize any risk of you getting robbed in your home, right? With the digital side, there are things that are put in place to protect you. But if it does happen, companies reimburse you. But guess what? That's what happens on the international level. When the negative things do happen locally, this is where the trust is eroded. When things do happen locally, we already know that we cannot count that our problems are going to be solved, one. And two, we can't count on the problems being solved without some form of headache, stress, bacchanal, shouting out brands online. It's not until you do all of these things, then brands want to start to fix your problems. All of that erodes the trust in the technology from a fundamental level, which is why people are not even curious about the technology. Once they see tech, no. You see that? If I have any problems, if I have any problem, I know I'm not getting no help. So let me just go and deal with the human one time.
Yeah.
That is the Achilles heel of the entire region right now. And that is going to cripple us, because now more than ever, we need you to be curious. We need you to say, ChatGPT 5, what could I do? How could ChatGPT 5 make me some money? Because that was my first question. How much more money is this thing going to make me? What else can I do with the tool? That is my mindset. We need to have more of that, but that is where investing in the people is going to come into play.
Yeah, and I would invest in the people as well. It was a phenomenal moment for me to see my mom start placing orders on Amazon a couple of years ago. And no, it's real because in line with what Keron just said, we have a tech averse mentality, and we'll always look for someone who we could send this to abroad. Could you go pick that up for me, purchase it, or wherever they purchase it? They are going to purchase it on Amazon anyway. And then, when you're coming down, you'll bring it. So you would literally just wait months just to get this item, because it's like, hey, I don't want to, and I'm sure that we could all relate to that with someone that we know. When we go to the gas stations, the line at the cashier is so long, but the pump is free where you could just use your card and not my credit card no. So I mean, we see it every day. So I agree, and I definitely would invest, I think, as well, in the people and developing the mindset and really upskilling. I think that is the word for tonight: upskilling, right, and retooling, because relearning, unlearning, relearning, because really and truly, we need it here in Trinidad and Tobago and the Caribbean as well. The world is moving at a rapid pace.
Never been faster.
Yeah. But I guess the question wasn't that different. Everyone agrees. But I will invest in the people as well.
Yeah.
I mean,
as you said, there's nuance, right? You said there's nuance because, and this is why I said if we're thinking about the Caribbean context, the people. If I'm in Asia, it's the technology, because
for sure,
mentally, the people, you have people in their 70s using their phones to make payments.
Right.
That
giving homeless people money on from their phone.
Yeah. How you mean?
Yeah.
But that is the normal here. So over here, I would say invest in the technology, because that is, the people are primed, and whatever you give them, they have been conditioned for so long that they're always looking for, how is technology going to enrich my life, and how is technology going to make it better? That is the mindset of the people. So over here, you can invest in the tech, but over there where we are, tech. We got to invest in the people. But Stuart, I had cut you off. Apologies.
No. There isn't really much I could add. Really, it's, as I said, bringing the people up to speed, because the tech out there. I mean, we could utilize the tech when we get up to that level.
We get to that level. Some semblance of it.
Some semblance of it, but we need to definitely improve our skills, as our last guest would say, our emotionality.
Yeah. Big up Shane Ram.
Right? But these are the things that I would invest in people. And then even on a smaller scale, we are all people. I will invest in you before I invest in piece of technology. I mean, just on the human level.
Yeah.
It might be a business, I might make the right business decision at a point in time, but I will always prefer to invest in our human. Human is the one that will pull more of the jam.
At this current time, that's what's happening. So let me shoot another would you rather. I actually walked with two, and one of them was a similar question, investing in something or the other. So I'll go with the other one. Would you rather host a sold out virtual workshop or speak at a major live event?
Host a sold out virtual workshop or speak at a major live event?
Like one of the biggest global events that there is to speak at.
Yeah, I want to speak. I like to speak on stage. It's one of the, when you're on stage and you are in this place where you're educating and you know how to hold a crowd and you can have fun. Like for me, the stage is fun, right? Mm-hmm. And I actually enjoy doing virtual workshops. I do a lot of them, and I enjoy virtual workshops mainly because, like, if you see my setup, like I have a little studio set up, right? So I'm always tinkering and experimenting, and even I have some ideas right now as to how to take my workshops and lives to another level. So I enjoy the creativity, just like how you guys have built out this show. I enjoy the creativity of doing these things digitally because we could do so many things, right?
Yeah.
But if given the choice, I would rather be on stage because at the end of the day, we are humans. We love connection. And when you can go on there and you can deliver and you could have fun and, and edify people and you get that live reaction in person, I can't even imagine how Michael Jackson felt.
Oh, yeah. I'm telling you.
People fainting.
I'm telling you.
I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
He just turns his head and it's
energy.
So give me the in-person, man. Give me the in-person. Let me try to get to that Mike Jackson level of stage presence.
Right.
Huge notoriety, for sure.
Well, I will put a spoke in the way. I will go the other way. Because I did hear you say, I am hosting this. I'm not being employed to do a gig. I am hosting my own sold out. You hear the difference there? I picked up on that. So so if I have my own sold out virtual event and I am making 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times the amount, and it's my own thing where my personal branding is better. This is my baby.
Yeah.
I go in with that.
Yeah.
I go in with that. You know?
Yeah.
I love it.
I have to agree with you both because actually when the question came up, as you said, I love this stage as well. And I love the energy that you feel from people when you're on stage. And to me, there's nothing that could replace that energy. However, I do like money. I do. So for this one, I think I'm going to have to definitely stay on the side of the sold out virtual workshop, which is hosted by me. And I think that as well, the other step of that is, I think that being sold out means that there are going to be people in the room who are going to give us more business. And maybe even put us in some of these big events to speak at coming up,
Absolutely.
So
agreed.
As we always say,
beauty.
Yeah. As we always say in this segment, there's no right or wrong answer. It is definitely nuanced, and it is definitely up to you where you're at in your business cycle, where you're at on your journey and your path, and that is Would You Rather right here on the Big Potato Podcast. And as we are there, let me lead straight into our final segment with Keron tonight. Yeah, it's final segment already. I know you guys don't get too sad, You could find Keron online. He's going to tell you guys where you could find him and where he's going to be speaking at next. But for the purpose of the podcast tonight, we have to wrap it up soon. So let's talk a little bit about some of those tools that you mentioned earlier. ChatGPT, Perplexity, Gemini. Now, I think
Anansi.
we have Anansi here locally, right? Yeah. But
don't forget Anansi.
Let's not forget Anansi. I have to be patriotic as well. But for the purpose of the audience, because we have a vast audience who maybe at different levels of their technological and digital stage. Where do you advise them? An entrepreneur, so let me paint the picture, an entrepreneur probably just growing his business or their business, first year, second year, that sort of thing, just getting their feet wet, getting their clients, getting their customers. What could these tools do for them? And what would you say, just a snapshot, broad overview of what each tool could assist them with?
So I think every entrepreneur, aside from the tools, I think one technology and infrastructure that every Caribbean entrepreneur needs to understand is e-commerce.
Right.
And that to me is the most important thing, but because tools are a dime a dozen, right? You could neither here nor there to me, use whatever works for you. But e-commerce, you have to, one, understand how e-commerce is going to fit within your business, right? Because most people are still caught on just serving the neighborhood, right? Serving the neighborhood. We have a brick and mortar store. If anybody is doing any online sales, because the majority of businesses don't have websites, this is what's leading to us for businesses to say, hey, DM to place your order. But we don't DM Amazon. We don't DM Walmart. We don't DM none of these. We go to their website, we add to cart, we buy. We don't speak to nobody, right? And because businesses across the region don't understand e-commerce, they are still only limiting their businesses to social media. We don't have any of the e-commerce features on social media. So when you do listen to experts from other markets and they're saying you don't need a website, you could just use Facebook Shop or TikTok Shop or Instagram Shop, again, discernment, those are relevant for that specific market, right?
Yep.
For us, we don't have none of that. So all digital sales, they absolutely 1000% have to go back to your website, right?
Yeah.
But now you have to understand, well, what do I need for e-commerce to work? I have to have a website. I need to understand how websites work because ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity, they're all recommending product links. So if somebody jumps in ChatGPT and they say, hey, I have back pains, what are some of the things I could do? You're going to have an entire conversation with your AI tool. And then at some point there, it's going to now pull in product links or services or pages or content into that conversation and give it to you. If you don't have a website and an e-commerce website, then you're not showing up in ChatGPT, Claude, you're not showing up in these things, right? And now Shopify announced with ChatGPT a partnership a couple weeks ago that now they're going to be able to check out inside of ChatGPT. Right? So now when you're conversing, you're going to be able to pay inside of chat. That is where commerce is going. So you need to understand e-commerce because you need to get away from just serving the neighborhood. If you want to start building any form of financial freedom and start, tapping into other economies and selling your products digitally or physical products, you need to understand how are we going to get paid? How am I going to deliver either that digital product or that physical product to that person anywhere in the world? That is how the Caribbean is going to be able to punch above its weight in understanding e-commerce, right? And that's what's going to set your business up to be more resilient as the globe is going to, as we're going to this big globalization. We have a lot of unique things for the Caribbean, but guess what? I'm in Asia right now. I can't buy nothing from Trinidad. The majority of people don't ship anything out here.
Right.
Yeah.
However, when I was in Trinidad, were we not buying things from China?
Every day.
Right? We were buying things from China. So
We have
why
more
is it that we can
platforms.
buy from China? We buying from Shein, we buying from Fashion.
Exactly.
Why can we be consumers of all these products? But why is it that none of our businesses, not any of them, right? And let me not be so fine. Let me not be so fine. There's a couple people that I know of that can actually ship their products globally, right? Just a few. But that is what we really need to understand because that is going to now generate business. When it comes to the actual tools like ChatGPT and whatnot, these tools are going to help you in almost any which way that you could think of. Whether it's a thinking partner for you. So your approach to using any of these tools is don't think of it like it's an upgraded Google where you're just jumping into ChatGPT and saying, hey, what's information for this? Or, hey, can you write this article for me? Or can you give me? No. Use ChatGPT like it's another person in the room with you. So how I use it is, hey, I'm doing this work, ChatGPT, you have these tasks. Do these things, and when you complete these things, that now comes and gets brought back into what I'm doing over here.
Right. Integrated.
It needs to be a partnership with these tools because they can literally do almost anything that you want. And with the latest updates, you now have something called agent mode inside of ChatGPT, where now it's no longer just responsive. It can do and complete tasks on its own. So how can people use it? Listen, I don't think any of us know the full scope exactly as to how much can be done. I think the question now is what can't these tools do? Because they can do pretty much anything, right?
Yep.
But I would say the thing that business owners need to understand, and it's the most important thing, is e-commerce, because you cannot scale in the Caribbean. We're too small. Trinidad is 1 point something million people. That is the size of most small suburban towns.
Wow. And that is to put things in perspective.
And that's to put things into perspective. So you cannot scale the way that you want, which is why the biggest companies in the Caribbean, they're not the biggest companies because their audience or their customers are only local customers. No, it's because they export.
Yep.
Right?
Correct.
So we now have the tools digitally and physically to export products and export services. But what I would love to see more people doing is getting into e-commerce. And if you can start to learn any of these new digital skill sets, and if you could export your expertise, it's going to do another major thing for us. In Trinidad, we are struggling because the vast majority of business owners are buy and sell businesses.
Yeah.
Why would I want to buy from you when I could just buy from Amazon? Right? Which is what's happening, which is why you know what the best business is to be in right now in Trinidad and Tobago? The best business? Go open up a skybox company.
Yeah.
Because the skybox companies are growing every single year.
Yep.
Every single year, they keep on saying more and more. So people are shopping online. They're not shopping locally as much because, one, you don't have no website. So I have to physically go into your location. If I'm in Port of Spain and we complain about traffic every single day, how do you want me to get to your beautiful business in gridlock traffic by Chaguanas roundabout inside? How do you want me to do these things, right? So we have limitations physically. So you have to have e-commerce. You have to have your logistics partners set up. You need to be able to not just serve the neighborhood, you need to be able to serve the entire country with your products or your services. And then you need to start to learn, how do I gain visibility so I can now start to attract the audience outside of TNT? And how do I now export my goods and services? And if you do that with the services side, now you're not bleeding the foreign exchange, because since most businesses are buy and sell, we're using up a lot of foreign exchange to bring in products to then go and resell. But if you have a skill set, if I know web development and I build websites for people outside of TNT, I am a net positive earner of USD. That is where people need to start focusing. Learn e-commerce, learn digital skills, export your expertise, and be a net positive earner of foreign exchange.
Perfect. And then that would eliminate you having to go to some of our institutions and literally beg for foreign exchange, because you'll be earning it yourself and enjoying what you do as well while earning that foreign exchange.
Yeah. Well, I will wrap up with my questions here. As you mentioned, the technology is moving rapidly. I can remember just the other day, it feels like that ChatGPT 4 was released, at least to my account. And now you're on ChatGPT 5. And by the time, as you said, every day is updates. What is the best strategy for a leader in terms of implementing all of this technology? Because you could become kind of unstable if every quarter you have a whole new strategy because there's new technology come out and you want to implement these things. So what is your advice for people trying to keep up with the rapid changes in the technology?
Don't be an academic. Be a practitioner. What is the people, right? The people, let me paint this picture. You look at marketing, right? Why is it that the only people struggling with marketing are the marketers? Why is it that the content creators are absolutely killing it on any and every single platform? But the marketers who are marketing businesses are the ones complaining about struggling. It's because they keep on approaching these things like academics. The academics are the ones that are going to struggle, because we are now in a skills-based economy where for far too many years, people are graduating with degrees, they come into the workplace and they have the paperwork, they don't have the skill set.
Ah, boy.
Right? And now that the world is changing at a rapid, fast, what does your degree really mean? What is the value of your degree? People want to see the skill sets. People, and I'm not saying don't get a degree, because as we said earlier, law, medical, engineering. You go get your degree, you need it. But for all the new jobs that are coming out, they require the skill sets. They need you to go and learn the skill set. So as a leader, The worry I have with the leadership is that the leaders are academics and they approach everything like an academic. So, okay, great. You read about ChatGPT. You jump on LinkedIn and you go and do a course. I love to see all of these people get on LinkedIn and, I just finished this course. Look at me, put it in my... But when I look at the course you did, there's no evidence that you actually can do any of it because you don't do it in your personal capacity. And then when you're telling me that you've learned this skill set and I see the company you're working for, and I go and I look at your company and I audit your company, I'm like, well, there's clearly no evidence that your knowledge was now being utilized in that business. We can see it. We can actually see tangible proof that there is no, that you're not utilizing the skill sets. So as long as we keep on, this new course is coming out, this new technology, let me get certified in ChatGPT-5, and you take it from an academic approach, what does your short course certification mean to anybody? Exactly. If you don't walk away with the skill set and you can't show and prove that you can actually do the things that you are certified to do, right? And I'll close it off like this to just hammer home my point. One of the universities that is regional is bringing me in to be part of the new MBA, right? So I'm going to be a lecturer in the new MBA program. I don't have an MBA. I don't have a degree, but I'm being brought in. So when we were in the meeting with the round table of the heads, one of the questions was, so Mr. Rose, can you tell us, a bit about your educational background and what makes you qualified now to be a lecturer in the MBA? I said, well, this is a very interesting question. Well, let's start with this. For one, I did not apply to any job here. Yeah. Y'all sought me out. So let's refresh your memory. Why did you guys see me out? They're like, why'd you guys call me, right? Why'd you call me? They're like, well, you have shown an excellent proficient in what you do. We have watched your case studies. We have watched your body of work. We know you can do exactly what you say you can do, right? But we're still very traditional. We still want to see a degree or something of the nature. I said, I understand that, no problem, right? Let me go again. I said, everything you want me to do, right? Everything you outlined that you want me to do, and you just said, I can do it, right? Now I want you to tell me which degree, which master's, which PhD you have in your university that I could do that would give me the skills that you want me to give you on paper. I'll wait. Wow. They looked at me and they said, you got us there. You have a point. You have a point. Yeah. There's none. They said, guys, are we bringing in you?
That's why we're bringing you in.
Exactly. That's why we go in circles.
Chicken and the egg. So they had to come back and they say, I understand, right? So the degree. So now I'm going to be teaching an MBA. I lecture in multiple universities. I'm doing all of these things as a practitioner, not an academic. And that is where leaders are struggling, because you don't know how to now change your company and format it in a way to succeed today if you're only approaching these things as a pure academic. Because as you get in the trenches and as you start to use these things, you realize, oh, wait a minute, the textbooks, they didn't account for these changes.
The theory.
The textbook from 2 years ago.
Theory.
Oh yeah.
It's all theory. So even that same university, right? And this is my last point. That same university, when I submitted my curriculum, right? When I submitted my curriculum, that was last year summertime, and we were gonna start this year January, but they pushed it back. But guess what? My curriculum was still sent a year ago. It absolutely has to change. So now my thing is, it has to change, right? They've already approved it. But now, whenever they decide to start, I don't know when they're going to start, but when they decide to start, we have to now come back and I have to say, hey, what you guys approved in 2024 is irrelevant today. I have to go back from top to bottom and refresh everything. Even if some things, for the most part, are still the same, every single thing has to get tweaked. There's no ifs, ands, or buts.
Mhm.
So as long as you are approaching this because you have a degree, you're cooked.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a different mentality, different mindset altogether.
Altogether.
Mhm. Fully agreed.
Fully agreed. I mean, I think that's a good note to wrap up tonight because I think it's shown throughout the episode the mindset change that we all need to have in the Caribbean. I'm sure other parts of the world as well. You know, we're not going to just be biased and say it's just the Caribbean people or Trinidadians and Tobagonians.
Yes.
No, but definitely we keep bringing that point across to our region because that's where we are. We love our people.
Yes.
We want to invest in our people and see our people do well. And there needs to be a mindset change. There needs to be a mentality change towards not only digital technology and the world that we live in right now, but just an openness to know that what existed in 1970, what the way it was done in 1995, the
2023.
the curriculum that was set out in 1980 that we still are teaching our children even at the primary school levels and so on. Perhaps we need to start to rethink some of these things, and that's a much broader topic for another time. So, Keron, any last words for our audience here tonight? Where should they go? Where should they start on their journey if they haven't started as yet?
The reason why all of these tools, every single one of them, have a free version to it is because they don't want people to have the excuse that they don't have the money to use these tools or try these things out, right? You have people who are like, I got an email today asking me about ChatGPT because I was on CNC3 and we were talking about the updates of ChatGPT 5. I got an email immediately. Hey, just watch a segment. Is ChatGPT 5 free? Can we try these things out? And it's like, you don't even have to ask me that.
Yeah.
Right? Just go to the website. It's all there. You can see it. Try these things out, people. If we are not curious about the technology, we're cooked. We're cooked. Because I'm in Asia now. I see the way that the leaders in the region here are doing things and where the mindset is of the people. When I go, I'm going to have a video, right? I'm going to have a video just now showing people that the only things I need are my phone and my smartwatch. Why?
Wow.
Because on my watch, right? On my watch, and I'll see if I can show this. You see this? These are my condo keys, right?
Right.
So rather than having to use cards, like actual cards to tap, I don't use cards. Everything is connected to my watch. I just use my watch everywhere I go. When I have to pay for things, I'm using my phone and paying for everything with my phone. Tap with my phone. All of my cards are right here on my phone.
Right.
They're all on my phone, right? So we're in this world now where the technology is here and we can do some incredible things. But unless you are curious about the technology, unless you are willing to try things out, unless you are willing to see what the good is, what the bad is, nothing is perfect. I know that. ChatGPT, the upgrade happened, and yes, it's great, but as of right now, it's brand new. So it's making mistakes. I'm not writing it off because it's making mistakes. I know this is just a part of the process, and it's going to get better and it's going to smooth out, just like ChatGPT 4, just like ChatGPT 3 before that. But unless we are curious about the technology and willing to try things out, we are cooked before we start. And that is the message I want to get across to people, to be curious, try things out, because the greatest shift in economic wealth is happening right now. The leadership from OpenAI to the other AI tools, everybody is coming out and saying something that's really amazing to me. And they're saying that with the AI tools we have available, this is going to be the first time in history where somebody builds $1 billion company valued at $1 billion, and the only employee is themselves.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I hope that it will be 3 of us on this podcast that would fall into that bracket. And to our engineer, Andrea, as well. I wish that for him as well. All right. But thank you for those very, very important words and insights throughout this entire episode.
Yeah, this episode was brilliant.
Yeah.
we won't say what we always say. We have to bring you back again. But we not won't say that. All I would say is that this could have gone twice the length of time. And I would still be enjoying and still be, captivated by the conversation.
Yeah. There's so much happening, so much to talk about, and so much evolving. So, I mean, even after, as you rightfully said just now, we will have to bring him back though, because even after we had this discussion tonight, things are going to change, things are going to update, things are going to upgrade. And we definitely are going to have to bring you back to have another check-in as to what is happening in the digital world, probably in a couple of months or so. So hopefully,
no problem, man.
Yeah, hopefully it may not be at 7 a.m. in Thailand. We might shift it down to probably 9 or so, but we'll see. But definitely we'll have to have you back on the Big Potato Podcast. Thank you so much for being here and really edifying, educating, sharing, not gatekeeping, as usual. Let folks know where they could obviously find more information on you, and if you have anything else coming up very soon.
Yeah, man. Just jump in Google and type in Keron Rose and you will see everything. So whether you're using ChatGPT, you could find me in ChatGPT. You could find me on Google. You could find me in Bing. You could, so Keron Rose everywhere. And then, every Wednesday, every Tuesday, CNC3, 7 o'clock in the morning, me and Jason, we always touch base. Every single Friday, Digital World, 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. on Freedom 106.5. Wednesdays, the Jamaica Observer. Thursdays, the Trinidad and Tobago Newsday. So every single day you have somewhere to go and see what new insights, what new adventures, what new opportunities we can tap into globally. Because listen to me, I don't like to gatekeep and I don't gatekeep for one reason. Trinidad is home. Doesn't matter where I am. Home is home. I want a home to go back to. I want to be able to come back home and be at peace in my house, be on the beach without worries. Just like I'm in Asia and I'm not worried about crime, I want that for us because at some point I will be back in Trinidad and I want to have left that place much better than what it is right now. So that is why we continue to do what we are doing. And the goal is to get us exactly what we are experiencing here in Asia and these other countries where we're just like, why can't we get this? It's mainly because opportunities. So let's try to tap into these opportunities, and these conversations are what are going to help each and every one of us tap into those global opportunities. So thank you for having me.
Yeah, anytime, man. And you're always welcome.
Always.
So thank you so much. And folks, that's how we wrap it up tonight on the Big Potato Podcast. What a show. What an episode. Episode number 4, season 3. Your digital world, our digital world. And remember, build your website. Have a good night.
Entrepreneurship, it's all game. The Big Potato Podcast is yours to claim. From startups